packed with gospel producers.
But
I don't got my own sound.
I don't either, bro.
I've been asking. Hey, look, matter of fact, this is my first time behind the camera. I'm like, man,
you live up the street.
I got 5 Grammy nominations.
You talk about the real go right here.
You live at the.
I can't even get on the couch. He got my phone number.
You live in the city. You live an hour and a half away.
I know, John.
You done
would
been
never
here.
call me.
I've been calling you, Kenny. I've been calling you.
You said I must suck. I ain't good. I ain't that good. And John don't think I'm good, bro.
Duh.
Oh, John, I call everybody but me.
No, I'm gonna tell you what it is. It's people like you is almost like unapproachable.
Nah.
That's how people see it.
Nah, he got my phone number. I call him to pray for his kids. I call him to pray for the fans. We talk about everything else.
He said, "No, I ain't gonna take that." I was trying.
You tried.
He said, "Look, I've been trying to catch Kenny.
Man, I made a couple records.
I've been trying to catch Kenny.
He made a couple records, bro.
You done some
made
records.
a couple
That's what we're
dollars
gonna
out
talk
here.
about. That's what we're gonna talk about. We just gonna jump into it. Welcome to the Hangout Podcast, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. If you enjoyed that banter on the front end, I think you're going to enjoy the rest of this episode because I got 2 people here, 2 of my big bros for real that have been big bros to me for quite a long time. I got none other than, we're going to esteem the Bishop first since he said I don't acknowledge him. We're going to esteem Bishop.
Don't try to make up for
Kenneth. I'm gonna give you a Lamar. That's your middle name for this. Lamar Leonard. Yeah, we're gonna get you there.
I'll take it.
And then we got the Right Reverend Jamel Kimbrough, Mr.
Administrative
Kima.
assistant to the bishop.
Yeah, the armor bearer.
That's how I go.
Yeah, armor bearer. Like
Y'all wildin'.
Yeah. Welcome, Mel. So these 2 gentlemen, of course, represent. I wanted to have both of them on here at the Hangout because both of you guys represent. Super amazing spectrums in the gospel industry. I mean, you're talking about Todd Delaney, Tasha Cobbs. I mean, all of these 5 Grammy nominations. You got Grammy nominations. You got 3 nominations, 3 nominations. I don't even know how. Y'all probably got a closet full of Stellas. I'm pretty sure at this time.
I don't have any.
You don't have no Stellars?
I don't either.
So
Really?
Here's what's interesting about the Stellars, which I think is cool. They don't normally do like the Grammys will do a Grammy for album of the year,
Right?
And the Stellars just isn't set up like that.
They're not
That's
set up
true.
that way. Like for engineers. And
Yeah.
songwriters.
We had a pod where we talked about that on how engineers don't have a category. You know, like you said, musicians, all of that stuff like that don't really have a category. You know, you got to get it by de facto.
Yeah.
The album won, the album got nominated, so you can claim that, you know, because you were a part of the production, a part of the, you know, the whole situation.
But not technically, so the award won't come back in our names.
Wow,
Right.
that's
You know
true.
what I mean? There's
It doesn't even come back.
no.
Yeah.
And then don't you have to pay for it too?
Well, no. I think what normally will happen at best is you get the certificate, and you do have to pay for that.
That's what I'm saying. You have to pay for the certificate, and you have to pay if you get the actual trophy. You have to pay for the trophy as well, right?
I've not
I don't know
seen
because
it.
I don't have.
well, you
I
said
don't know.
ain't
I don't even know if
what
you
I've
have an
heard.
opportunity to buy.
That's just what I heard. Now that's hearsay. Y'all take that with a grain of salt. But I've heard that you have to buy. But even you say you have to buy the certificate still.
Yeah, well, so how it was explained to me is like the record company will basically, depending on the company, they'll get it.
But if you're an independent
get it for
artist,
you. If you're an independent artist, you got to pay for it.
So it's like, come pay us for this award that you won.
Yeah,
That's kind of crazy.
Pretty
when you
much.
think about it, but I get it. That's how the Recording Academy is an amazing institution. I definitely don't want to make light or
don't get
take
us in
away
trouble
from.
out
No,
here.
we're not getting in trouble.
Get out of
Recording
there.
Academy, we love you.
zipped.
We bless you. No, thank you for your contribution. That's how they make their money. That's how they do their thing. So I'm not mad.
and the Stellars also, man. I mean, I think if you look at the landscape of awards right now, they are constantly diminishing the opportunities in Christian music. And if you're talking about God, we got maybe 4 categories now total, which it used to be more. I think maybe it's either 2 or 4.
I think it's like 2 now.
Wow.
But
if I'm not mistaken.
But what the Stellars, the Doves, other awards like that gives us a space to really celebrate what's happening in our music. And I think it's a lot closer to authentic. I won't say that. It's really authentic because it's people that's actually close to the genre.
Yeah.
Where you can be like, Yeah, Brandon Lake deserved to win. That was, that was really great.
That makes sense.
And I still think that it's, a lot more opportunities out there. I think it's on us because the Stellars is the people choose.
It's the people
choose. Yeah, that's true.
So if you don't vote,
but you got to be SAGMA. You got to be a SAGMA member, right? That's voting for the SAGMA.
Yeah.
It's not like Gen Pop voting, like Tiffany from Tacoma is not voting.
And so to my point, where I talk about who do we produce for, we produce for the consumer because it's for them. It's not for us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
This is why he wins so much, because he creates music for the people, not for us. I guarantee you ain't making no music for me to say, Kenny, you killed that.
Yeah, I was about to say, explain what you mean by us, because you're absolutely right. And here's what happened. Well, when I first started, I could even go as far back to R&B with Anthony Hamilton.
Yeah.
I was sitting there and I would start playing Charlene, right? And it's very simple, like blum, like almost like this, right?
Yep.
And so I was like, I'm about to get in. I'm gonna eat. I'm new on the scene. He finna feel me.
He finna fill me up.
I filled up the intro with all this stuff. We get to the end of the song. Lights go dark. We're in DC at the DAR.
Wow.
Lights go dark. Next thing I know, he's in my face at my station. He goes, hey, man.
Get out the way.
Don't do all that. Like, it throw me off when you do all that. So I'm having I don't know if y'all know Wizard, who's a super music director and producer down in Atlanta.
Okay.
OG, I'm on the Tom Joyner cruise, and he goes, hey, man. He was like, I was telling him, I'm frustrated, man. I wanna do all this stuff, man. And he said, hey, man, listen, them people out there, he was MDing for New Edition, so Candy Girl, all that. He said, I get tired of dun 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 dun. He said, but them people out there, they don't understand none of all of that stuff we talking about.
100%.
He said they come to hear
the music.
You'll sing the song and they'll be like, man, that was cool, but I didn't hear my song.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so it changed my perspective on the big picture, right?
That's so
like
good, bro.
everything is important and everything needs to communicate. Like we're talking a language here.
It is, bro.
We're talking music is a language. That's the reason why
That's so true, bro.
when John do this crazy arrangement, musicians understand the language in that home like, oh
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But other people don't understand that language.
Yeah.
So we gotta communicate to them in such a way where they like, ooh.
Yeah, we're speaking
right.
in foreign. It's a language, because I heard somebody say it years ago. Music, because a language can be written, it can be spoken. You know what I mean? Those are the categories of a language. So music can be written or felt. Music is written. We write music.
Right.
We write music. We notate music. We read, written, and spoken. Those are the three categories of a language. Music can be notated. We notate it and we read it. We write it and we speak it by singing. So music is literally a verified language.
Yeah.
And like you said, but just like any other language, there's a key. You have to know what the dialect is. You got to know how to speak it.
That's right.
And like you said, to y'all's point, like
I don't know how to speak Spanish.
I don't know how to speak Spanish.
And if they come to me speaking Spanish, I don't know how to respond to that.
Right.
Wow.
I'm just looking at you.
Yeah.
You know, but if you come speak English to me,
Yeah.
I can respond to you.
Respond.
Right.
And so that's what my objective is. And when I do music, I want the people to respond.
Yeah.
And if I communicate in a way that they can interpret it, they're going to
good.
respond to that.
Here's one of the things that I think you've been a master at and been able to do is make it simple enough that everybody can respond, but also
got that on
complex
last
enough that as a musician and singers, we're gonna enjoy doing it.
Yes.
And not
y'all walk the line really well, bro.
You do the same thing, brother.
And I got to give you kudos too, because it's not just about the instruments, but what we hear is instruments and vocals and lead vocals.
Yeah.
And what really good producers do is make sure that all of that is great.
Yep. Yeah. So I know you the same. I don't want my drummer to be here and my bass player here.
Right.
I don't want my background vocals here and my lead vocals. I need us all on the same level together. And so that's my job, to pick the right people that, you know, like I got
Say that again.
Bro, that's
your
the
job
point right there.
to choose the right people, man.
Right.
Like That's a producer.
Like, come on,
Kenny and I can produce a record and with our legs folded and hands
never play
and never touch a note.
You gotta speak to that, bro, because people don't understand. Cats get a MacBook, they get a Focusrite interface. Shout out to Focusrite. They get a Focusrite interface.
I got
and they get a AT2020 mic. I'm a producer. They done changed their bio.
They got their backpack.
Backpack. They got backpack. That's the starter kit.
I came in here with mine because I don't.
That's the starter kit.
I want to make sure y'all know.
But my position has always been this. My position is always this. Producers have budgets. I mean, you can have the MacBook and the Focusrite and the AT2020, but do you have a budget?
John, you're inching into a real sensitive space right now.
Let's go there. That's the why I got the two producers, Grammy noms on the couch. Talk about it. Y'all are more. I ain't got no Grammy noms.
So when you say budget.
Come on.
Tell me about it. What you hearing?
Budget. I mean, like, man, will you want to go into the budget of how much people are being paid? I mean,
where are you going?
I mean, I'm saying in general, a budget. In general budget, like, you know, whatever the artist, the label, whoever's paying you, whoever's writing that check, they're giving you a budget to create a record, to build an experience. And you, as the producer, as the creative lead, you have the responsibility to bringing that to life with what's been put in your hand, not just what's been written, not just what's been performed. You have the whole conglomerate. But I know you guys, because y'all work with budgets, big budgets, small budgets, all of that. Budgets. Y'all have all of those things, and you can really speak to it.
We did that thing, you remember?
Oh, my
Come on.
God, don't remind me.
Just keep moving.
We'll talk about that off camera.
I might know what y'all talking about.
I just tapped out. You know a lot about that.
I was involved in that.
Yes, you were.
Yeah, because
don't say no names.
I'm not going to say no names. I'm not going to say no names. I'm not going to say what it was. But I just remember y'all gaslighted me. Y'all gassed me.
No, he may have.
I kind of did.
I didn't even know you was involved until later.
Jamel hit me. He's like, hey,
Here's.
Wait.
Let's bring it back to the point, though.
But wait. I'm going to say this, because Jamel, I just got to say this. Jamel hit me. He's like, hey, bro, I got something for you, bro. This gonna help you, bro. Like, everybody's on this. I'm talking.
Hey, I wouldn't lie.
He did not lie.
He said everybody's on this.
Don't put no names.
I ain't gonna put no. He's like, so and so is on this.
Yeah.
This artist is on that.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo.
Yeah.
I got them files, bro. I was like, come on. That was the worst 4 weeks of my life. The first 3 songs was killing. Everything after that fell apart.
Listen, that's.
But to your point, that good producers know how to get like wine out of water, right?
Yeah.
Good producers can
blood out of a turnip.
Yes. Right. You know, like I come from when I say engineering, like I studied computer engineering and industrial engineering in college. So there's like when you program, they garbage in, garbage out. But when certain producers can get garbage in, and what comes out is beautiful. Yeah. And when we got that project back, and you go watch it on YouTube, and the audio is amazing. Yeah. And honestly, it probably shouldn't have been.
Right.
And so kudos to you.
Kudos to you
for making it happen.
Yes.
Kudos to Jamel for
a
good producer is like, I need to call this guy.
Yes.
He figured it out.
He can make it happen.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
That's why I would say this, like, which camera I'm looking in?
Any of them.
Get out your feelings. Most of this stuff has nothing to do with your ability, your skill set. Sometimes that guy got called because he lived in Detroit, and that was what was going to keep the budget under budget.
Oh Lord.
He's great and you're great.
Yep.
So it's not always a matter of, because we tend to covet. Like we'll covet a gig. I've been playing with such and such all this time.
I should have had that gig. Why didn't you call me?
Why didn't they put me on this session?
Yep.
Like we said a minute ago, like a good producer knows who fits what best and in this context. I know I'm doing a session in Nashville. It's a certain group of guys that I'm going to think first because I know I'm going to need that budget to do something else. Or I know I maybe can pay someone else more because I saved on hotels. Because I saved on airplanes.
Bro, you talk. I know my wife is looking at you, probably ready to give you an offering right now. I know my wife got her wallet out and say, let's pay Bishop with this commentary right here.
Mine too, because it's coming out of her budget. Which ultimately comes out of my house.
Will come out of your household budget. Yeah. But I'm going to take it a step further. Like, we got to think about not just the skill set that they have, but the other skill set of people.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I know some great musicians I can't bring in the room with me.
Did I just slap your hand?
It was a reflex.
It was a reflex. Do that. Hey, no Diddy.
That's how you know he felt that thing right there, boy.
It was automatic.
Like I got a whooping. No, but real talk.
That's a producer quality because...
Introducing the revolutionary plug-in for the 21st century. The ultimate solution to all your creative needs. Question: are you tired of hitting roadblocks in your creative process? I know I was. Do you yearn for sounds that would take your production to new heights? Well, I'm here to tell you, look no further. With my cutting-edge plug-in, your brain will be firing on all cylinders, unlocking a world of endless possibilities. Imagine effortlessly finding drum patterns with the perfect melodies, effortlessly creating live arrangements that leave a lasting impression on your audience. And let's not forget about this heartfelt chords that tug at the heartstring. This plugin is not just any ordinary tool. It's a game changer that will revolutionize your music production experience. With this intuitive interface and powerful features, it's like having a personal assistant dedicated to taking your music to the next level. Yeah, new heights. So I ask you today, are you ready to unlock your full creative potential? I know I am. So I say don't settle for anything less than extraordinary. Get your hands on this plugin. It's the future, and watch your music soar to the new heights. The possibilities are limitless. I give you the world of Juice by D-Lo.
D-Lo got the juice, D-Lo got the juice, got the juice, everybody get the juice, everybody get the juice.
Believe it or not, relationship, like what's happening right here, it didn't just start in this room. We have conversations for years
all the time,
and it's organic. What happens on records, you feel that because those guys have great chemistry. And it's like, this guy might be a great player for this session, but how does he
communicate?
Affect culture?
Yeah, culture.
Wow. How does he affect the culture of this record?
Because
we in the red for an hour, but we here 10 hours.
And that record's gonna speak forever.
It's gonna speak forever.
Bishop.
And if I ain't feeling you like that, if we awkward and we sit down and try to create,
that's gonna come out.
You're gonna hear it. You're gonna hear it. You're gonna feel it. That's that sonic piece in the room that you don't see, but it's there. It's like I can't see it, but I sure feel that thing. And what is it? Let's even take it a step further.
Let's keep stepping.
I mean, because I want to talk about it. Like, some people just don't communicate well to people, but then some people, they don't take care of themselves physically. Hygiene. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so many different things of why I choose certain people and why I don't. Yeah. Because you don't know how to watch your mouth. You want to challenge everything that somebody say, and you just a guitar player.
Right.
You don't say
you
a
don't play
word.
Well.
You stop talking because this is not your thing. So,
or you don't know how. You may have some very valid, incredible, and valuable information, but you don't need to go straight to the artist if they don't know you, especially.
Thank you.
And you don't need to go around the MD. You don't need to go around the producer.
Nope. No etiquette.
It's like read the room.
Read the room. I was in the room. I got my understudy. He plays bass. I told him, I said, I was working on a Timeless song. I said, hey, bro, I'm working Timeless. You can be in the studio. Come with me. He's like, you sure? I didn't have to tell him. I didn't coach him anything. This was coached before. He sat in that corner, didn't say a word. Tamla had to go to him and say, hey, son, who are you? What's your name?
Because there is a value that can't even be, you can't even put value on access.
That's right.
If somebody gives you access, You gotta protect
Yes.
that like nobody's business.
Man,
That's
that's
good.
worth more than anything, bro.
You just because you had access to the room, you got to be able to be able to absorb everything that's happening in the room and stay in your lane.
We was just talking about somebody, and you said I can't give him that credit, but you gave him the access, bro. That's why I said you can. You just proved what I said.
I think having that access and experience gives you opportunity to be able to see things from a different light. Like I talked about the R&B world, and I think it's pretty simple, but like when it came to the gospel world, to that same point, we were making records for the 97%.
Yeah.
We're making records for every worshiper, from the huge church to
the storefront,
and even the person sitting in their living room.
That's right.
That's so good.
That's
right.
Especially nowadays, streaming, bro. Yeah.
Living room. Yep.
So
Bedside Baptist.
being able to do that was great, and I mean I think, you know, when you get access to something, it's also saying that you trust it with this platform.
That's it.
Wow.
That's it.
That's heavy.
If Kenny called me for something, I have to protect him.
Yeah.
Along with myself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
This
I
is
have
good,
to
bro.
do that situation. If I choose to take it as a referral from Kenny, I'm gonna kill it because he trusted me enough with that call.
And it's his name,
And
as
it's
well as
his
yours.
name as well as mine.
And I know that, and I know he gonna kill it. I know he can kill it.
Yeah.
And so I'm not gonna. So a lot of people will go into him not feeling like they deserve it or deserve to be there.
100%.
Wow.
And so they'll
And
be
it shows,
like, man, why am I even in this room?
Yeah.
Like, because we know we see something in you.
See something in you.
Somebody saw something in me. And put me on my very first like gig ever was Karen Clark when Kiara was when God says go.
Wow, the repeat Karen.
Yeah.
I call her the repeat Karen. Repeat Karen. And she killed it.
Yeah. So, but I'm like, man, I'm just like, I haven't been playing that long.
Yeah.
Ivan Powell, God rest his soul, with the great,
Man, we was just
one
talking
of the
about him.
greatest to ever
We were just talking about him yesterday.
grace an instrument, called me and put me on a Karen Clark gig, and I'm like, man, I gotta show up.
Yeah.
Not just on this instrument. Like, I need to be able to be somebody they were like, oh man, that guy was cool.
Yeah.
Kenny, great people.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
That's what you want.
5-star
They're good
review.
people.
Yep.
Great musician,
We'll
even greater
recommend.
person.
Yeah. Yep. I saw somebody say you got different levels. You got A and you got B musicians. So from a skill standpoint, A and B level musicians are the same. But what makes them an A versus a B is their personality.
Come on.
How they
Not their skill.
Yeah, not the skill set. So I'm gonna call B players. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what I'm saying? It's just that's what I'm sorry. That's what makes an A player is their skill set. Not because you can play better than the next person.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's some guys that can't talk. They don't know how to do anything.
Yeah.
Can outplay the A players. But they'll never get in the room because they got so many different things missing. They don't know what a spreadsheet is. They don't know how to create a budget. We talking about budget. That's why I was gonna get into that.
That's why I want you
Like,
to let you have it, Bishop.
you don't understand how to use spreadsheet, how to allocate the budget, like you were just talking about. It's so many different things.
Run that process down. What is that like? What does that look like? You get an artist.
Well,
what is
for
or
me,
whatever the case may be.
I'm gonna talk vision before I talk a number.
Yeah.
I gotta know what you're trying to do
That's good.
because
bro.
I need to know if the budget given to me fits that. Because a lot of people can say, I want this and this and this and this. And then when they present the budget, that don't speak the same language. Them two don't add up.
This is what we can do.
This is what we can do.
This what we
We
can
gonna
do.
get rid of all them cameras you wanted. Everybody got an iPhone.
iPhone cameras.
We just saved in that budget.
That's right.
Which is an extreme example, but it's
But it's the
literally
truth.
what we're doing.
That's what we
Yeah,
doing.
you have to bring them down. You have to bring them to reality.
I need to know what I'm working on.
Yeah.
You
You
know
know
what
what's
I'm saying?
even more dangerous though? The bigger budgets.
Ooh.
Because that money, it starts
it's
dwindling
ballooned.
away
It just
because you
goes
know
away.
you kind of got it.
You think it's
And then
there.
at the end of the day, you need another.
Yeah.
And you like, man, I spent that much on lunch.
Oh my God.
Because we're talking about producers, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
Producers do more than just make music.
Yes, sir.
Come on, Chief.
When they call you to produce a record, you are responsible for the big picture.
Yep, the big
I was
picture.
doing this record one time. I hope they don't mind me using names, but it's a great example. I was doing Bishop William Murphy's record, and this what really kind of broke my mindset about. Like at the time, I thought the producer was the MD, which he could be.
He could be. He can do
was
both.
the arranger, which he could be.
He could be.
But
or you don't have to be.
Or yeah, those are different hats that some producers wear.
Yeah.
And so I'm working on Bishop Murphy's record. I'm trying to think of the name of the record right now. But anyway, Aaron Lindsay's producing it.
Yeah.
Aaron Lindsay is standing in the back of the rehearsal room all day.
Wow.
Man,
he ain't touching it.
why he ain't playing?
Yeah.
He ain't coming up with the arrangements, and he would step in and be like, "Hey, I wanted to feel a little more like this. Let's take this approach." Blah blah blah. And
Paris
I'm like,
told me a similar story. To this.
and I'm like, why? Like, let's make it make sense, right?
Yeah.
Like, I want to make it make sense. So then I'm doing the Grammys, and Ray Chu is the band leader. He not playing mains. He's directing pretty much most. I'm like, man,
Communicating. Yep.
what am I missing? And then I had to produce a record, HPP, and Heart Passion Pursuit.
Yeah.
And you really, this is my first like big, production, and you realize how much weight is on the producer. I can't really pay attention to vocals the way I need to pay attention to them if I'm stuck in band rehearsals all day. And vice versa.
I'm so glad you said this.
Nor can I really pay attention to my artists if I'm stuck in band rehearsals all day.
Yep.
And then when I leave, I gotta reconfigure Ableton or Pro Tools or whatever it is you use. And now I'm spending more time doing that.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, I was like, that's why somebody else is doing tracks. That's why somebody else is on mains.
Yep.
That's because I need to be able to
Not
float
because
around.
you can't.
Not because you can't. But because you're wise.
Because you shouldn't. And that's my thing, is there are way more things to be concerned about with my bandwidth, the little that I have when in production week. You know what I mean? And so see, here's another point. Like, if you're the keys player, and everybody's different, some people got the bandwidth. I don't, and I know I don't. I can't be the best to my role as a keyboard player if my mind is thinking about, man, is Danny hitting that record back there?
Wow.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Is
it Tasha or is Todd Delaney in a good headspace before they come out on that stage?
Exactly.
That means
Did somebody bring a tambourine to this session? I'm sorry.
Who got the tambourine?
Oh my God.
Bringing tambourines. Unless you are Aaron Draper.
Yes. Unless.
Do not show up.
Don't do
pull
it.
up with a tambourine.
We got that. We got that. All right?
Yeah,
It's in the track.
Loop elements.
It's in the loop elements.
Here's the bigger picture, though. Like, I think we want to really kind of broaden people's perspective on what the producer really is.
I agree.
And what their main roles are,
Yep.
because that can affect what you get, your end product, but also can affect what you ask. Because as a producer, we talking about budget.
Yeah.
I know I ain't got the budget to spread this out.
Wow.
So I gotta be the MD.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't pay, now for an arrangement this time or whoever.
Yeah. Can't hire Roy Cotton to do it.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And so, that's how you play the budget.
That's right.
Or you may choose to do that, but you're going to have to.
You're going to take home less at the end of the day.
Yep.
Right. Or you'll either take home less or you just got to know how to work the budget so that you pull it from other places.
That's right. That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
That's reconfigure that budget, man. Repurpose it.
Yeah.
Is what I call it.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, instead of having 9 singers on the stage for the night that I'm not going to even use those live vocals anyway.
Right.
Let's just say I have 3 vocals on the stage and save that for the post-production.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Or use this to do my string budget. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Instead of using, because you got to think. Like, I told them the other day, man, I said producers are just, their job is more to fix the problems and have foresight, that a problem could happen.
Yeah.
And take care of that problem before it manifests.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I anticipate this because I got so many experiences with this problem. I'm planning for it.
Right.
This can happen. I need a redundancy recording situation.
Right.
Wow.
Where's your second recording unit?
Always.
Always. Where's number two?
Always. I always have a second red
Yes.
red.
Yes.
I don't care if it's tracks live.
I don't care if it's tracks live.
I don't care what it is. You better have
You better have a
something.
redundancy.
Because stuff happens.
It happens.
Dude, I got back a session one time and the whole primary recording was like it was static the whole way through.
I know it.
And if I didn't have a redundancy,
No.
You was done.
Jamel
What you gonna tell him?
He was just messing with me a minute ago when we finished your recording in there, and you was like, "You don't play." As soon as soon as he pressed stop on the recorder, I was pulling out the SD cards, putting them in, backing them up to Dropbox.
Yeah.
I have a cloud drive that I'm backing it up instantly because
Instantly.
I've had experiences where drives got lost.
That's right.
Drives fell out, and a teacher in school told me one time. He said, "If it only exists in one place, it does not exist.
It does not exist.
it don't exist.
If your
Yeah,
stuff
it'll
is
go
only
away.
one place. And you can't
right.
go back and get it. You can't if you lose that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Oh, you more than fired.
Yep. You're done, bro.
You're
That's
done.
it.
That's your career.
I told a friend of ours, Ron Hill, I did a project for him, and he was at the session rehearsal, and I was tracking. He's like, "What you doing?" I said, "Man, I got the record."
Right.
I said, "If don't nobody come here tomorrow, I got the record because I just recorded it
Yeah, you
because I cut it in
got
pre."
to.
right.
You got to be proactive.
Oh, nobody thinking about pre. Most people think about post.
Nah.
Jamel's
Forget post.
cool there, bro.
Forget post. Go home. Because I'm going home. I'm not finna stick around for a whole nother hour on post.
The record's already done.
Yeah.
I think for me, doing pre-production helps me speed up post too.
100%.
Because I still want to capture. If we're doing a live session, I want to capture what's happening live, and then I work with a lot of like worship artists who might get a song of the Lord in a spot, and so you want to comp that. But I do think that it's a huge win when you show up to the session. All your aux done, all your vocal overdubs, or at least the main parts
The main
are done.
song is done. Yep.
And not only do I think it helps us feel a little bit more at ease, but now the audience is really getting a true representation. So they're gonna respond.
Yes.
Cause them vocals are bam.
there, they
gonna
understand.
respond because I don't see no horns, but I hear them.
I hear them suckers.
Hey,
They sound great.
they sound great.
Wow.
Yep. Bishop Hezekiah Walker, I did a song with him. He's like, so I don't see the singers up there singing it. I said, what are we doing? I said, that I did them in pre already.
Yeah.
He's like, what do you mean by pre? I said, well, you do choirs. You know what I'm saying? That's a little different.
That's a little different.
This world, you know. But I said I pre-recorded those vocals, and they're just giving you aesthetics right now. You know, he said, "Oh my God, that's incredible." I said, "But that not always for the choir. Most choirs, you ain't running no vocal stems. No. They singing that song. You could, but most of them ain't.
No, you're singing that.
You know what I mean? So
speak to your pre-production process, and both of you. I want to hear those perspectives on how much is pre. How much is live, how much is post in both of y'all's kind of world. Whoever wants to take it first.
I think for me, so
and just for definitions, for those because I know we might have some people now like pre-post. What we talk what pre-production, producing the record before you get to the live stage, production when we're on the stage, post-production after the recording is done, we're getting it ready for commercial release. All right.
Yeah.
So just for definitions.
So I think pre-production for me starts with references, and a lot of times what happens. So I build out full references, which I mean I'm assuming like most people do now. But what I found
like drums,
is
everything.
like live drums, guitar, bass, main keys. And also I'll do
and this is when you get the reference.
Yeah, this is the reference. Like many times we'll get a song that's just voice note.
Right.
No click.
No click.
You got to chop it up and put it on.
People don't understand.
Yeah, you got to do all of
that.
that. But what it does is it gives the artist and everybody involved with the performance part opportunity to know what we're listening to, what we're going to create. Here's what I also do, and I try to do this as much as possible when. Because now we're talking about budgets. So if I know who's playing on this record, I get those same people to create the reference. And here's why. one, you're already bought into doing this record. And so it's a part of what I'm going to pay you anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Secondly, is it forces them to already know the music. Yep. So when we get to rehearsals, we don't have to
set of ears.
learn anything really. Royalty was like during the pandemic, we did this record called Royalty. Yep. Literally, the whole record was like done and and we just re-performed it over stems. Yep. But when we got to rehearsals, it was like, all right, let's run Royalty. We do the whole song all the way through because everybody know the song. Right. Vocalists included.
Everybody.
Don't forget your vocalists.
Oh, my God.
Background vocals matter.
They matter.
They matter. When you hear a song, it's not an instrumental.
Wow.
And here's what opened my eyes to this.
I'm excited to reveal something game-changing for us and for you as producers and musicians. I want to introduce to you Peculiar Sounds version 2. We've introduced standalone mode, allowing you to use it independently from any DAW. You can now blend up to 2 sounds to create rich and complex textures. We added in 2 brand new effects, the Lo-Fizer and the Mod Filter. The Lo-Fizer gives you instant lo-fi vibes with just a button, while the Mod Filter adds dynamic movement and flow to any sound you apply it to. And we also added the innovative new MIDI browser that provides you with hundreds of chord progressions, melodies, and drum loop MIDI files that you can drag straight into your DAW. And as a bonus, V2 now includes Sounds Off the Block expansion for totally free, bringing the total to over 400 patches. So as you can see, Peculiar Sounds V2 is not just an update, it's a revolutionary new plugin. So make sure you check the website right now and you can get your hands on this game-changing plugin.
One of my friends, they was talking to me, they was like, yeah, like the words this and the lyrics that, and I'm like, yeah, but you didn't hear that lick. No, never even heard it.
See what I mean? Never heard it.
So we thinking everybody's loving just the music mix. Like, no, it's everything.
It's everything.
Man.
So my pre-production process is pretty much that. I want to get as many of the people that will be involved in the entire process involved. Yep. And I also want to make it do as much of it as possible so that it's a lot smoother when we get to rehearsals, when we get to, by the time we actually performed it, you had to learn the song, you done had to record the song once, we had to come in rehearsal for at least a week and rehearse stuff you already knew. And then we record it live. And then in post, if you want to fix something, or sometimes I'll even use my pre-production, like say the bass player missed a G. I'm not gonna send you that because I already got it.
I got it in pre-production. Yep.
And I don't have to wait a day or two or whatever your schedule permits for you to get it back to me. Yeah. I just do it. I just take it from pre-production and if it fits. Wow. Of course. But most of the time it's not hard.
Man, that's huge. I love that because that's exactly what I do. And I'll even say my pre-production starts at that vision conversation. Like, what do you want? What are you trying to say? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So now I got to pull in the writers because every artist is not a strong writer. Oh, yeah. And so I need to pull a writing team in the room. Yeah. And this is what we're talking about. Yeah. And I have to navigate, even if I'm not writing the song, I'm helping centralize what we're talking about for that album. Yeah. Wow. So I'm sitting here, say we all writing the song, we kind of went to the left a little bit. That don't quite fit the album direction. You know what I'm saying? So I want to make sure the right writers are a part of it. You know, sometimes the labels, they bring in writers and they submit songs, this and that. But I like to have my hands at the top of the record before anybody submit a song. Yeah. Because I don't know what the artist wants to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you saying today? Are we doing this or we need something? You know what I'm saying? What are we saying? Is this corporate or I'm singing to you? Is this perform? What are we doing? Wow. And I want to know that first. And then for me, then I go in the box because I'm an in the box producer. So before I call my band or anybody, I'll pluck out all that stuff. 100% arrangement, because the one thing I don't like to do is burden the MD or the drummer with the concept of the sonics. Yeah. That ain't their job. Wow. Right. That's my job. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm big on drum cadence, because that's a language. That's telling my story. Yeah. So any drum pattern, it came from me.
That's so good.
100%. The arrangements, I don't need you to burden yourself with that part. You
I've
just
seen
be a
it.
musician.
I've seen it in real time. I
and
know
play
what
it.
you're saying.
Yeah.
Give me your expression. Give me how you would interpret that. But I don't want you to have to come up with the concept of that. That's not your job. You know what I'm saying? That's a producer job. And I see people do that like all the time. Like, give me that part. Now, you hire arrangers. That's one thing because I do that too. You know what I'm saying? But that arranger got to have direction.
Everybody.
You know what I'm
Everything
saying?
starts from vision.
Everything starts from vision. So I ain't giving my arranger something that he gonna have his own creative edge to. I don't want you to be that creative.
Yeah.
I want you to stay in this and then work with that. But if I give him nothing, I just allowed him to create whatever came to him, and that's not fair to him. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna give you a roadmap.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you. Don't change this.
Yeah.
Don't change that. Add.
Right. Color in the line.
Color in the line.
That's so good.
Give me
so
a beat.
you work with a different arrangers in
All the time.
everything that you're doing. See, that's a dope perspective that I think a lot of people don't know because you don't get to see behind this curtain.
Yep.
And so the concept is thinking Jamel is producing the record. We're thinking you're sitting in there literally comping out everything,
Right.
doing all of the parts, figuring out what all is before it gets to anybody.
Right.
But you're
There's
saying,
some times where I am.
Yeah,
so
there's some where you
Todd,
are.
for instance, he
Yeah.
won't let nobody do it.
Okay, yeah.
He says, nope, they don't know me enough.
Yeah, that's good.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Tasha
yeah.
will say, listen, don't let them do that, Kenny. They don't know me.
Yeah.
They don't know what we talk about.
Yeah.
So
That
you know
makes
what I'm
sense.
saying?
That makes
so,
sense.
So some of that I am doing, but then there's other artists I wanna I just want to call in some arrangers that I know.
And it's probably more advantageous on some records for time, budget, all of those things for you to do, especially if because I know both of y'all work with multiple artists sometimes at the same time. Yeah. On top of trying to be a father, on top of trying to be a husband, on top of trying to just do church and ministry, pastoring, you know, MD and you executive music director for all of those campuses in Chicago and all of that stuff. So yeah, it probably makes sense for you to hire a arranger to help, but you still can be the creative lead. And I think
He said it like the producer doesn't have to MD.
Yeah.
The producer don't have to arrange.
That's a good perspective.
You know what I'm saying? The
That's
producer
so
could
good.
mix it.
Yeah.
The producer could just be the master.
He should.
He should.
Because that boy.
You better be in that room. I tell you
be in the
that.
room.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in that room, man, when we doing them vocals.
Yeah.
I'm in that room when we doing edits. I'm in that room when we writing.
Yeah.
I'm in that band rehearsal. I'm in that vocal rehearsal. I'm everywhere.
This,
Writing
ladies and
session.
gentlemen,
Yep, everywhere.
is a producer. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a producer.
Right.
This is where I wanted to
But
have
that's
this
just the
conversation.
creative side. It's a whole
Now
nother
you
weight
go.
that you have to also shoulder as a producer when it comes to work for hires, tax forms, split sheets.
I was coming for splits next. But
All of that stuff is the responsibility of the producer.
Yep.
And if you cherry pick, you're not being fair to the role of producer.
Man.
You can't just arrange and say I'm a producer
Right.
because
You got to do it all, my
So
guy.
I think that's the point that I like to make a lot of times is there are categories and people put on the producer hat initially because that's the common language, but not really understanding the role because you might not be a producer. You might just be an arranger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A great arranger.
great arranger.
Yeah.
You might just be a beat maker. You might just be a composer or just a dope musician.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with those spaces and living in those spaces. But I'm pretty sure the people that you work with as arrangers, they own arrangements.
They own it.
Yeah.
Yep.
They know that
That's
they're
right.
arrangers
That's
and
right.
they live in it and
Yeah.
they know what to give you as an arranger.
Yeah.
They know what to give the producer.
That's right. That's right.
And I think it should be more healthy if a lot of us own those things.
Right.
What are we? You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And really own that role because the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so
Yeah.
is he.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So whatever you think and whatever you live in and whatever you identify is what you're going to push into and what you're going to be.
I'm telling you, man, because we have to not just from the creative side, we got to communicate with the powers that be.
Yes.
The labels,
That's man.
the executive, the artist. We got to fix problems. Say a song come to me and they don't have a split sheet. We got to figure this out or make the decision to say, we can't use a song.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, because you don't know your splits. Y'all arguing over splits.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
Bro,
That's
I mean, you really can't
I
release
can't
that
touch
song.
it. The
Yeah.
label won't touch it.
Yeah.
If they don't have a split in their hand.
Yeah, and you got to know when you doing a cover.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got to have a release for that.
You gotta have a release. You gotta get that
You gotta have
mechanical.
Mechanical. Yeah, you got to have
Yeah,
mechanical.
no, I know about that, bro.
You go out there without it.
Go out there without it. You in trouble.
Trust me.
I know some people that lost millions of dollars because they didn't know that was a cover, bro.
Yeah.
And you took this song
Yeah.
and you released it and you didn't do
Yeah.
your work.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So you don't know how to talk publishing language. You don't know how to talk none of this communication that the label talks.
Yeah.
They talked on
They
other
talk on those
levels.
Yeah.
We could talk. We could
Talk
take
to
it
that.
even a step further because there are parameters that we don't necessarily would know. We wouldn't know unless you start talking to a label. Like, hey, this song is too long.
Yep. Yep.
This song needs
Radio
to be
edit.
5
Oh,
minutes
Yeah.
because the algorithm tells us
Uh-oh.
that they only listen to the first minute and a half.
Wow.
You gave me a 9-minute song for
Yep.
YouTube.
What we gonna do?
And
don't
you
wanna-
gotta make the decision to either say, well, we'll either fight for it,
Yep.
Yep.
or we're gonna play in the rules. And sometimes they may not even give you the.
No.
They
They
don't need
don't
to
even
cut
give
it
you
Gotta
down.
cut it down.
Yeah.
You got a radio edit. You just gave me a 9-minute song that's got to be 3 minutes and 30
Yeah.
seconds.
So get to your artist and make sure they can understand they got to compromise.
Right. Or what's scary is they'll be like, "Don't worry about it. We'll edit it." I'm like, no. You get back to edit. It don't even. The beat don't even lie to you. You've been there, so you know what I'm talking about.
Skip the beat.
You like that, dude? Why would you lose that?
They do that.
Never mind.
You leave that up to the AR, so the ARs
Wow.
will do that.
So here's what I do. This free game. So what I do is I create the main portion of the song to fit within
Me too.
my 5 to 7
Radio.
minute
Yep.
Yeah.
Thinking radio.
parameters, and I know I can edit 5 minutes down to 3.5.
Yeah.
I might even like beg for 4 minutes. But then there's a reprise, if you will.
Yep.
We could end the
Yeah, I can
song
do
right
that.
here.
You said,
And then-
you hear he said reprise.
Yeah, that's how
the correct
That's
way.
how you pronounce
Really?
it. Yeah,
Yes.
it's
So
not
it's not
reprise.
reprise.
It's not reprise.
It's reprise.
It's reprise.
Yeah.
I was today years old.
There you go. Learn something new every day.
It's repeat.
Then
reprise.
I got a section that I know that if I have to truncate this or if I have to cut it off and make it another track, I got space to do that.
Yep.
Wow.
And
That's good.
I'm talking to my artists about that too. Like, we can't loop this but for so long. This is an actual format right here.
Yeah.
And we'll work it out. Or if we are looping something, I know I can cut a loop down
Yep.
Come on.
into
That's
a couple
easy.
of turns and
If
I'm
it's
good.
8, I'll make it 4. If it's
Yeah.
4, I'll make it 2.
Yeah,
We'll figure that out.
We can figure that out. But if you got a really long verse,
Yes. So what I do sometimes, like, I make that second verse half. So if the first verse is 16, the second verse is going to be 8.
Yeah.
And then move it that way. That way I
makes
ain't
sense.
doubling up. That's 32.
Yeah, that was like you did that with like Your Great Name. I
Yeah,
can see that same
exactly.
format.
That's the formula.
You did 16 on the first
Yep.
verse, into
Do
the
8.
chorus.
Yeah.
And then you did 8 on the second, back into
Because
the
you want to
chorus
get the
and then-
song moving. Like Down Lawrence taught me how to make a radio, because at radio they want to keep moving.
Yeah.
So you got to get rid of them downs.
Yeah.
Whatever's dropping, because worship music does that. That's just what that's what it is. We got to find out a hard way to get those downs and keep the record moving for radio's sake.
Yeah. Wow.
Because that's something new for radio. It's got worship, worship music. That's like, how do we? That don't really
How we
fit
navigate
radio.
that, yeah.
Tasha made it. Tasha is the front runner of why worship music is on the radio now.
Right.
You.
Y'all.
This has been amazing.
You know, ain't that
Well,
crazy?
I think it's a science too. To when you record a song, like you've been saying, hinting in there, as you were saying, I was like, he literally is like God. Like, I know the end from the beginning.
Yeah.
And to start with a vision, to know the complete picture, because I want all of this. This is my vision. This is what I want it to look like, feel like, smell like, all of that.
Yep.
This is what I want it to be. And now, as a producer, it's my responsibility to protect the artist and protect the vision and create a thing that can live in multiple spaces.
Yeah.
Because you got to do Your Great Name on the Stellas, and they ain't going to give you but 2.5 minutes to do your... So you got to be able to create it in such a way that 2.5 minutes still feels like 7.
Still feels like 7.
3.5 minutes.
That's great.
On a TV show still feels like the full song.
Right.
And if you don't have that in mind, and it's essential parts in the song
that you don't want to
compromise.
cut.
Yeah, you gotta know how to create a song in such a way that it can live in so many spaces and still be valuable.
Wow. This is so good.
Wow. How do you tell an artist that you're producing that the song from a conceptual standpoint is not fitting where the vision of radio, like, and they don't, how do you compromise? How do you get them to see that
the song doesn't necessarily fit radio
or even sonically, just the sequence format?
Honestly, most of the time I don't have to have that conversation
because you already called it right.
Well, no, the record company gonna be like,
nah,
that ain't it.
They know what they want.
That's right.
Yeah, and so I mean,
I
think it's kind of a balance there too, because if you believe in the song and they believe in the song, I think that it's a real opportunity to really fight for it.
So obviously,
100%.
so if you had to have those conversations, you know, like how are you so he hasn't really navigated. How do you navigate those?
So I mean, you got to be straight up honest. And so if you're the producer, you got to be the bad guy. You got to be the one to have the hard conversation.
Yeah.
You know, even with the label.
Okay.
Like you tell a label, I disagree.
Wow.
I don't think that's the first single out.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I think you're wrong. And it's okay to say that.
Yeah.
You don't have to say so.
Yeah.
But you still have the right
to
try to protect what it's in your hands. So some people
because they'll miss it.
They will miss.
And have.
Yes.
Wow.
Wrong song. Wrong one.
We knew it.
Yep.
Yeah.
We told you.
We
y'all
told
went
you.
ahead.
But y'all people upstairs said, I want to do it this way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's our obligation to fight for it. And so you just got to be the bad guy and just, you can't take it personally because they don't have to do what you're suggesting.
Wow.
I call it the honest guy.
Yeah. There you go.
This is my honest opinion.
Yep.
Wow. So
It's so many times that, I mean, people in general shy away from having a hard conversation. But I think if you ever look back over your life, most of the times your biggest growth came from tough conversations.
the tough conversations.
Tough lessons.
Yeah,
I call it eating the frog.
Eating the
You
frog.
gotta eat the frog. You don't want to eat the frog.
I don't want to
You
eat the
gotta
frog,
eat the
bro.
frog.
Sometimes you gotta eat the frog.
Yep.
That's good. So, speaking on moving into a different area, I do want to talk about like what is it like working with high profile artists? Because you know, while producers, we all at some point will probably get a shot or get a situation where we get to work with someone high profile, like your Todds, your Tashas, or you might be working with the next Todd or the next Tasha. You know what I'm saying? Because Todd was Todd before he was Todd, and Tasha was Tasha before she was Tasha. But you guys got a chance to be a part of their journeys as they've rose into the platforms that they are on now and are scaling and continuing to excel. So can y'all kind of speak to that? Like, what has that process been like working with artists on the rise?
I'll say, man, and it's just, these artists, every artist has to be produced. So what you hear is a produced artist. So don't let that intimidate you. You own that role of yours. Because what got me is one of the biggest singers I know that I had, bucket list artist. We got in a room and she didn't know what to do. I was like, whoa. She said, Jamel, tell me what to do. I was like, but
you're you.
Right.
But
but you, what do you mean you don't know what to do? You gotta own that space because they're not what you think they are. They're human and they have imperfections. Yeah. They've been produced.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? They've been produced. So it's like you gotta be the producer. And don't allow intimidation to set in because they can sense that. You been and lost that room and lost control.
Whoa.
You know what I'm saying?
That's real bad to lose a room.
You lose a room, you can forget it.
Ooh.
You can see it. Like, we in a room together and say, I'm a producer,
Yeah.
but he's Kenny, and he come in the room, and I don't know what to do in the room. The more Kenny talks, the more Kenny has stole my job.
He becomes the alpha.
Yes.
Yeah, he becomes
The
the
more
alpha.
I don't know how to fix it, and the more I sit quiet and bruh, that's the worst thing to ever do is lose control.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a situation happen like that. Even my own self at my space, I had someone in this room.
Right over there.
Right over there. I had an artist and the producer was in the room, but it was a drum session. We were doing a drum session. We were doing a drum tracking session, and the producer was just sitting there on his phone. And I'm like, bro, produce the drum. Like, I'm producing the drummer.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm saying, like, and we get into a part in the song is the drive. I'm looking for, I know 4 on the floor goes here. It's the drive.
Yeah.
It's the drive. Give me 4 on the floor. But I'm giving the drummer direction. Because because I knew I had to mix the record after it. So I know what I'm gonna need to keep that bottom going for the song. I need weight there. I'm gonna have to mix this after. I'm engineering the whole thing. You're the producer though. So I need you to produce. But bro, it's just
I think it's something to be said about the words like working with you.
Yeah.
Like you're in the room because they trust your experience, your expertise, your ear, your instinct. And so as to Jamel's point, I think that your job is to pull the best out of it.
Yeah.
100%.
Which requires a level of comfort.
Yep.
So you got to know how to build a relationship with somebody to be able to say, "Hey, let's try this right here instead of this right here.
Bingo.
Let's do this instead of that." Or why don't we go to give me that 1972 Bill Mathers? I just make up drummers' names.
I love
I know more than I know.
It makes sense though.
If you give me a 1962 like Rodney Kearns with the Eagles, who is Rodney Kearns? Yeah, with the Eagles. Just give me.
And then I'm gonna be like, I know him.
But like, yeah.
Just make that up.
Give me a little Ernest.
Ernest
From the Doubles. You know the group, the Doubles. Give me a little more Ernest.
Cold, bro.
He said, "Run the Doubles." My God. Here's what I'll say to working with high profile artists.
Yeah.
And I think as a producer, because we have a high profile producers, how can I say this? Preparation is paramount. And here's what I mean by preparation. Because large platforms start as small platforms. And so as a producer and as an artist as well, I think that you have a real big opportunity when your platform is small, when your exposure is small, to perfect your gift, perfect your process, perfect your skill set.
Those mistakes.
And so you treat the artist that's about to blow up like the artist that's already blown up, 100%. So that when you get there, you know how to handle situations. And from several perspectives, like we were playing out of keyboard amps. We used to, we didn't have any ears. We had to stay together.
PV.
So when you run into a fire on a major platform, you've already dealt with it on a not so major platform. So same thing, like I used to learn Ableton in church, right? And I would spend hours.
This guy run Ableton.
I would spend hours and hours. One of my homeboys was like, "Y'all just be discerning when you're listening to your homeboys, especially if they ain't been there, right?
They don't know.
But one of my homeboys was like, "Why you spending all that time doing all that for that church, and you spending all this time on them tracks, man? They ain't gonna pay you for it, blah 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 blah." I learned and perfected Ableton, music directing, arrangements, producing every Sunday morning. And cats want to treat their local assembly as if it's not valuable. But only what you do for Christ gonna last, bro. Like, you grow and learn, and God is giving you an opportunity to be able to walk into somebody's worship assembly and minister to people. Don't take that lightly, because God is depositing stuff in you and giving you an opportunity to sharpen yourself. Not just on the stage. I don't even know why I'm going here. Not just on the stage,
you
but
need to be saying that.
You're getting an opportunity to learn how to show up on time every week. You're getting the opportunity to learn how to build relationships with people every week. You're getting the opportunity to learn how to correctly learn music, how to correctly practice, you getting every week. You get an opportunity.
It's a university.
You get to. You don't got to. You get to
preach.
You get to do this so that when Michael Jackson, there used to be Michael Jackson when I was growing up. That was the ultimate. When Beyonce called,
right,
you don't fumble the favor. Because
come on, Kenny.
To whom much is given, much is required. And when you said that, my thought was, what's the difference, right? What's the difference between somebody that haven't blown up and somebody that has? And it's the amount of eyes.
Man.
It's the amount of people that's looking.
Yeah.
And Adam Blackstone may not see your project right here, but if he see your project right here, he gonna say, and you didn't do the work? Might need to quantize that.
Come on, man. You missed a few things, bro.
Yeah, and so you're opening yourself up
This is good.
into a space where more eyes and more ears get to hear what you produce.
Yeah, man.
And so if you don't learn how to control the budget here,
Yeah.
the record label gonna say, I can't call him.
Can't call him. You blew
The record label gonna be like, oh yeah, can I meet with you, meet with your artist without you? Yeah, this guy don't know how to handle the budget.
Wow.
Like, that's what matters to them.
Yeah, it does.
That's the difference. That's the difference. And so when you sit in that church and the prophet walks over to you and say, I see big things for you in your future. You're gonna travel around the world. You don't even got a passport. You're gonna the proper response to prophecy is not just praise, it's preparation.
That's right.
You prepare when you get that word.
Yes.
And you know you don't know how to run tracks. Prepare. Because that is God giving you the grace of time.
Man.
To be able to prepare for what's coming so that you can properly steward it when it's in your hands. That's the difference between.
I can't even take this right now.
Y'all can't even see. Y'all can't see it off camera. Y'all won't see it off camera. But Warren Brown, we got Warren Brown in the building. Y'all gonna see him on the pod. Warren stepped out.
Man.
Yeah, and Warren stepped up.
Brown perfected his gift.
There you go.
So that when the world began to see it, it's excellent.
Come on. Bro.
But he sat with the bass,
come on,
with the keyboards,
come on,
with the drums, with the guitar, with the flutes, with the spoons. He play everything.
He play it all.
And he's effective on it when we hear him now because he made the sacrifice,
the work he did,
while he had the safety of obscurity. And many of us are like, man, I'm ready. Ain't nobody calling me. God is giving you the safety of obscurity to prepare for when he call you to the big platform. And the other thing you got to work on there is not just being able to be great on your instrument, not just protecting the budget, but you also got to have a solid relationship with God so that when they come cussing you out in the comments, you don't lose your salvation.
Lose your mind.
You don't, not just your salvation, your self-esteem don't go down. You miss what your purpose and your focus on the vision because now somebody has something to say about you using a tambourine in this track or you using like your home. Oh man, I wouldn't have blah blah. So now
you taking it to heart.
You starting to change your focus on your vision based on what somebody said. But if you don't protect your character, then if you don't develop your character, when you protect it, when you get these attacks on these larger platforms, you won't be able to handle it.
Wow.
Everybody can't handle the comments.
No, bro.
And you want to be an artist.
Yep.
Everybody can't handle the criticism.
Yep.
Wow.
And you want to be a super producer.
Wow.
You can't handle it.
Especially that, bro.
This right here is genius conversation. Like,
I'm just letting
this
them
is
cook.
next
I'm
level
just letting them cook, bro.
Conversation right here. This is what people really, truly need to hear.
When you got one of those modes where I don't know what to do, I'm stuck.
You're right.
All I do is listen to something like that and it's like, okay, now
I
got something.
Exactly.
I have like every single plugin, but some plugins you be spending like
hours just trying to find that one sound. You took the time to really curate and find like a group of like sounds that's really usable, that get straight to the point.
You're giving them enough to get started so they can walk into a room with someone and be like, all right, man, what am I missing?
I love the plug-in, man. I think it's incredible. I think people are gonna be like, wow. I mean, you got the sounds, people looking for sounds like that. Now they just get the plug-in.
You know what I mean? So you literally can just cook a complete record, like just from this plug-in. And for me, it's like not about a whole bunch of sounds, it's about production.
He gonna come out the gate sounding legit.
Yeah.
Out the gate sounding legit because of something like this. So I'm telling everybody, man, get the juice pack.
It's the truth, bro. I got to have it.
It's fire. It's definitely juice. D-Lo got the juice.
Yeah.
Because as a producer, you're a leader. You're almost a pastor.
You are.
You know what I'm saying? And you got to have a pastor's mindset.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is why it's perfect, and it made sense for you to pastor a church. It makes all the sense in the world.
I'm still trying to figure it out. God, does this really make sense?
It makes sense. It makes sense. You think about the great producers like Aaron Lindsay.
Yeah.
Why is he a pastor? He been a pastor.
He been a pastor.
You know what I'm saying?
In the field.
Yeah, he been doing this. And so don't be looking at me because I ain't the next pastor.
Yeah, come on.
Because that ain't me.
Come on. I'm glad you said that.
Key 'em up ministries.
God just dropped this on me.
I'm gonna jump on the right.
you drop nothing.
Yeah, but learn the chords.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also learn your character.
Yeah.
That's good.
Build your chords, build your character.
Yeah, man.
Shed on those things.
Shed on knowing how to treat people.
Treat people.
Shed
That's the
on
stuff we need to
having
be sharing,
integrity and paying your bills. No, I'm serious.
Because that's piece the budget. If you can't budget your own finances, how you gonna manage a budget
Man,
if you get it from
the hardest
label?
person to lead is yourself.
Yep.
Yes.
The hardest person to lead is yourself, man. If you can't lead yourself, how are you going to be able to effectively lead others?
Man.
Hardest person to discipline is yourself. And you can get up every day and practice and share for hours, but you haven't taken the time to develop character to do
Build that habit.
And that's what shows up.
respond to text.
Yeah.
Wow, it's that simple.
Tell the
Kenny.
truth.
Tell the truth.
Yeah.
Kenny, man, like this has been a masterclass right here.
Man.
That's
It's
a big
all
deal,
this.
man.
No,
Forget
for
the
real.
music
I had
creative
to
part.
not call people that were very well equipped, skill-wise,
Yeah.
Skill wise,
that
because they missed the bigger picture. 100%.
every artist, every single artist I've ever worked with, and I would assume that I haven't, will go for the guy with character, integrity that can play the song
100%.
versus the super amazing, dope guy with no integrity or character. We don't need Spain for this.
Right.
We don't need we just need.
Yep.
That's all we need.
Candyman, man. That's so crazy.
Listen, man. I mean, is there one?
It was, I mean,
Is there one?
Would
Because
it
all
be
we
one?
need to do is raise the offering now. We done here.
I do want you to speak to this, then I'm gonna kick y'all out for real.
Don't kick us out. Having
Because
so
I know
much
you
fun.
got an appointment to get to.
I do, man.
But no, you walk a different line that a lot of other producers and musicians don't get to walk, because not only are you, do you produce with your wife and minister with your wife and MD with your wife, y'all have that dynamic. Can you speak to that dynamic of producer when your wife is also your client sometimes? How do y'all navigate that dynamic? I'm pretty sure because visually y'all seem to navigate it and work it well. I've been paying attention for years to how you guys have just progressed throughout every iteration of y'all's journey. 100%. But how? Speak to that a little bit, because I know there's a lot of people that are building that dynamic, have that dynamic, and how do y'all do it without losing everything in the midst of it? You know what I'm saying? Losing each other.
I think from the very beginning, we both were very intentional about staying within the lines, right?
Yeah.
And so Tasha Cobbs Leonard is my artist. Tasha's my wife. And so I'm very clear on how I see her when we're having artists artist, producer, artist, MD conversations.
Yeah.
It's stuff that I would pull rank as a husband and as a man.
Yeah.
Be like, nah, we ain't doing that.
Yeah.
But she the artist.
Yeah.
And I think I had to take myself to a space of, if I wasn't married to her,
Yeah.
and she just paying me to do this and trusting my word, how would I handle this? So there are some times where I give context and I'll say, hey, I think we should do this because of this, and this is the big picture, and
Yeah.
you'll make the decision
Yeah.
based on what's your context too.
Yeah.
And so as her MD, producer, even business partner, there are clear lines that I'm very conscious and not egotistical about. Well, I'm your. I might not even like it. I might totally disagree.
Yeah.
But because I respect the lines that we've created, like it's a contract, right? Like the reason we have contracts is to outline expectations and put everything in black and white so that we can understand who's responsible for what and what this relationship looks like. And we have a proverbial contract when it comes to our business relationship as well as our marriage. And there are decisions that she won't make without me because we're in our personal marriage space.
Yeah.
Now I'm husband. And even as pastor, hey, I got this opportunity to take this gig. I like to talk to my pastor. And sometimes it might be funny, but sometimes she'll be like, Pastor Kenny, I need blah, 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 blah. Because now this defines how the rest of this conversation is going to go. Bae, blah, 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 blah. Or she'll send me a set list. Most of the time I create the set list, but she may feel something sometimes, or she'll say, hey, I don't want to do that song. I want to, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And it's my job to respond and create the most comfortable space and pull the best out of her for whatever the context is.
Yeah.
And so just that dynamic, I separated and compartmentalized all of those different things. Like now, you can't deny that they overlap.
Oh yeah.
So I have certain advantages playing with Tasha that I don't have with other artists. Because I take in so much information every day about, I know what she looks like when she doesn't like that because she didn't like it over here. I know what she looks like. I know how she stands. I know how she sounds, feels even when these situations come up. So I can tell when she's uncomfortable on stage because I know. And I'm already aware as an MD, but I have even more information.
You got more information.
Because I can tell when she's like in the river. I can tell. So I get more information in every space that we're in, and I just use that to stay within the lines.
Wow.
I think it makes me a better MD for her. It makes me a better husband for her. It makes me a better pastor for her because I have so much information to make decisions from.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. I love that he's Kenny or he's
Pastor Kenny.
Bae. Or pastor.
I like Bae.
Oh,
you like Bae. He said, I like Bae.
Bae is great. That was, man.
But even for you to speak to on merit, because even y'all have a dynamic, even though Miss Kia Mubb, CFO, is not an artist, she still stewards everything else around you. So speak to your dynamic even as because I think these are things that I think are important, even though we're talking in the line of production and produce. But who you marry matters.
Matters, bro.
You know what I mean? No matter what you do, who you marry matters. The reason you guys are sitting in this studio, as beautiful and as amazing it is, because of who I marry.
Yep.
It is a direct result. These things are congruent because of what my wife does upstairs allows me to do what I need to do down here. You know what I'm saying? And so these are things as producers that we don't talk about, because you could be killing it out there in the field, killing it as an arranger, as a producer, and failing at home. And I see this dynamic played so much. It doesn't matter if you get the Grammy, if you get the Stellar, if you win all of the awards, and you come home and there's nobody there to celebrate it with. There's nobody there to be victorious with, to go on trips with, to do all of these things. At the end of the day, there's just nothing but you and your award.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like as producers, as musicians, as creatives, these are conversations that I'm always interested in, because I want people to walk away with all of the value. This is how you get the gig. This is how you be a good producer. This is how you be a better musician. And this is how you be a better person. This is how you be a better husband. This is how you be a better father. Because those things are going to play over into who you are as a production. It spills over. If you having a bad week at home, and Todd Delaney comes into your space, and your space is a wreck upstairs, it's gonna bleed over into all of that production.
You got that right.
So speak to your dynamic and give us some advice.
Man, I've learned, because like I love what Kenny was saying. I mean, you have to know your wife. You have to know what she's able to tolerate and what you need to do more, to help her. So my wife, I need to make sure she's bought into everything that I'm doing, because she has to feel a part of. Because her whole life is connected to me. And I know my wife can get easily offended if she feels like she doesn't have a place.
Yeah.
That's good.
Man, so I have to make sure she has a place in everything that I do. No, she doesn't sing. She doesn't play music. But I sent her to college to get a degree in accounting, so that now she accounts for our company.
Wow.
She feels connected. She sees all the money come in. She pays people. She books for me. She books my so she's fully invested into who I am. Because that makes it easier for me to be the producer I am. Like you said something, if she's not happy at home, I can't come down here and be successful.
No.
You said it. If something going on upstairs,
bro,
nothing's gonna happen down here.
You better get upstairs.
You better get upstairs.
You better get upstairs.
And that's what I'm gonna do.
That.
Hey, can we cancel this session today? Because they ain't got to know what's going on.
Something came up.
That's right. But I know right now, man, my wife and I are in a season. We've been together over 20 years. And so we're now in a season that we are. Thank you, brother.
We don't celebrate that enough.
Man, we don't. We don't.
We had 23 years of relationship.
Man.
Wow.
We'll celebrate 20 years of marriage next October.
Man, that's beautiful.
But 23 years of relationship.
Y'all got some sound effects you can add.
I know.
Y'all are superheroes.
But
I know now I'm relearning her and me.
Yeah.
We're in a different place right now.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to be intentional with saying, okay, I'm different. My wife, I know I'm different. The call on my life is different.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it was.
That wasn't what we were.
We were talking about like 15 years ago when she was pregnant. It's like things were just so different, and the way you looked at me was different, and I was like, I felt so convicted. She was telling me that. But the call on me is different now. The pull on me, but I have to make sure she's comfortable, man. Whatever you need to do, make sure she's first in everything.
That's important.
Make sure she's first. Skip the hype, because if they don't call you no more, guess who's still gonna climb in that bed with you?
Got that right.
You know what I'm saying? You can be broke, no calls, no more music, but guess who's still with you? And so she has to know she's priority. And that's what I'm falling into some mistakes where she doesn't feel as prioritized in this season. And I'm just being a little transparent. I'm doing some work right now to catch up. To build that back with her, because I did, I kind of disconnected a little bit because I got busy. And we don't think.
We don't, bro.
And
Tunnel
I'm watching
vision.
my wife respond to me in a way, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? But I got to remember, I'm doing something to make her respond. And I have to be the man to help her see, yes, we're both going through a transition right now. You are, me too, but I have to be the one to navigate that thing and make it right.
Say that again.
Come on. I was just about to say the same thing.
Say that again, because as men, I know we got a mixed audience, but as men, I'm gonna talk to the men. It's our responsibility to lead and navigate those seasons.
We have to. It says giving honor to them as the weaker vessel. We are the stronger vessel.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that they're lesser. It doesn't mean God never speaks in lesser than, greater than terms. He's always like the weaker vessel, meaning that we have physical strength. We have emotional strength.
We have to cover that.
We have to cover
our
that.
main thing, our main responsibility is to cover our wives.
That's the main responsibility.
And leading through those transitions or that.
It's some things that I can't share with her because if I share something that, okay, let's put it this way. Say I'm having a disagreement with the pastor that I serve. Some things I should not tell her because now she's going to not receive the word because she's mad at him because I told her about our spat.
Right. Yeah. Or it's in how you share with her.
Or how you share. You just got to know your spouse.
You got to know
your spouse. And how to protect her, bro. Like that's so important because they don't realize how much power they have over us.
Oh, bro. No, they control the temperature
everything.
Of the house.
My whole life is off of me and my wife ain't working.
Bro, I can't.
Man.
I'm
I
totally
cannot
off.
You can forget it.
I will be down here practicing what am I going to say to her and how I'm going to say it and how I'm going to fix it. And then when she say this, I'm going to say this. We're trying to figure it out.
You ain't thinking nothing about gospel producers.
You ain't thinking nothing about I'm like, I done threw everything. I done turned the computer off.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here trying to figure it out. Okay, how am I going to fix this?
How you going to fix it?
Can I say this, though? And this big bro talking and to everybody, OG, if you will.
Yeah.
Like, that's why it's so important to develop character right here, man.
That's so
because it's a lot more temptations up here.
Yeah.
It's a lot more of what you like, what you may have never had. It's a lot more people wanting lessons.
Oh, you play?
And like,
man,
I always say this, get yourself into a healthy community of men that don't normalize you being a hoe.
Yes.
Not just men, people. Women or men. Like, from big bro, stop being a hoe. Stop.
Come on.
And you're going to have to create an environment that supports that. I'm telling you from experience.
Absolutely.
Like, it's going to help your life when you get better. I heard Jamal Bryant say this, like, my biggest mistake was my first attempt at monogamy was when I got married.
Wow.
My biggest mistake was my first attempt at monogamy was when I got married. And a lot of us are in a single season right now, and we got what we call a roster. You won Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Different areas.
You know, if you touring, it's even. So develop discipline here so that you don't have to be standing with your spouse in a room full of people that you've been with.
Wow. Whoa. That's heavy.
Because imagine if you standing with your spouse in a room full of people they've been with. That's why that sacrifice is so important there. You don't want to be looking over your shoulder, checking your comments, trying to make sure somebody ain't drug up a skeleton out of a closet.
Wow.
Didn't you? Like all of that stuff is important here.
It is.
Man.
So that you can keep your foundation solid here.
Exactly.
And marriage, man, y'all been in 20 years. Marriage in itself is difficult. Relationships,
100%.
they are difficult and rewarding. They require work. They require discernment to know when seasons are changing. And if you don't start developing this discipline here, when your seasons start changing and you start disconnecting, you will be able to tell yourself no, so you don't call the familiar thing. Be like, man, she tripping. Man, he tripping.
Wow.
See what I'm saying? Like all of that stuff requires discipline.
It does.
Which I hate to be a pastor, but it requires the Holy Ghost because discipline is a fruit of the Spirit.
That's right.
Self-control
is a fruit
of the Spirit.
That's right.
I think that's the first one they mentioned.
Without the Holy Ghost, love, long-suffering, temperance, all that stuff. Is self-control is a fruit of the Spirit. Without the Spirit,
you can't. No,
like this is gospel producers, so we assuming we playing gospel music. I feel safe to say it's not enough to just play the instrument, but you have to have a relationship with the God that you're playing for. Because my wife said this the other week and it hit me. This is the only genre of music where we represent somebody else. When we playing, we not representing Kenny. We not representing Jamel. I almost said your real name. Oh, D'Artagnan.
Only the homies can say that.
Don't roll up on him and say that.
We not representing John. Yeah. When we get off the instrument, we still representing him. And without self-control and all of those other, without the Holy Ghost.
Holy Ghost, man.
You can't stay committed without it. You can't love your neighbor without it.
Yeah,
you gotta have it,
and it matters, man.
And I feel like I would be being less of the big bro if I didn't say
Pastor.
it.
You gotta tell them, man. That's important.
Don't walk away from it, man. Yeah. Don't get on your phone when the sermon is being preached. And hey, everybody's streaming now. Go home and watch
it
as a worshiper. Go home and like you were there, and so you had mixed focus. Yeah. But like develop your spiritual life because you will need it not to ruin your life, man.
Jeez. What a word.
The doors of the church are open.
I'm telling you.
You can come by letter.
This is why he here. Skip the music talk.
Christian experience.
Yeah.
Candidate for baptism.
You're building men in this conversation, bro.
No, for real.
It's necessary, man.
It's encouraging.
I got a huge burden for it because I made a lot of stupid mistakes because of ego, because there were some people, not all, that were in my ear. One of the biggest mistakes I ever made, best lessons I learned, though, was because I had some friends in my ear that said, you should do this, you should do this. They did you, like, they were wrong, but my response is what mattered. And my response ultimately cut me out of a gig. But it taught me a big lesson. And so I feel like it's my responsibility to share, like we're overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. It's my responsibility to share to some people some of my experiences so that it will give them speed. Yeah. It will give them information.
Wow.
And they don't have to fall into the same holes I fell into because I know where that leads you and I know what it takes to get out of that hole. Some of them I'm still trying to climb out of, you know?
Yep.
And so if I can talk to little bro, little sis and say, hey, look, you can avoid years of pain by just doing this.
Yep.
And protecting yourself. You will never know the pain of this and the pain of regret from this if I can share this experience with you and you can take something from it.
Yeah. That's so heavy, bro. That's the kind of stuff I love because these are the conversations that I wish I'd had 20 years ago. Yeah. You know what I mean? 15 years ago. People to normalize some of these things. And like you said, it's understanding like all of these dynamics and understanding like where the growth, not making those mistakes if you don't have to. I'm a big proponent of what's that old saying, like a ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I've always looked at other examples. Yep. Yeah. I was telling Jamel that yesterday. I said even everything in this studio is built by example. You know what I mean? I saw it somewhere else and I said I gotta figure out how I can do that. And so I do the same thing when it comes to, you know, friendships, relationships, marriage. I'm listening to how Jamel, I got convicted listening to the stuff that he said about his marriage. I got convicted listening to what you're saying because I'm bleeding and I'm learning all of those things because you guys have walked a path or are walking in a path. I mean, me and Jamel, I think Jamel just a little bit ahead of me, but that a little bit ahead of me and his perspective, and he's also a little bit ahead of me in age, which is 46 plus 40. I'm about to be 42. You know what I'm saying? You're mid 40s.
36.
Just say he big bro. That's all.
Big
I'm
bro.
45.
See,
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
y'all walk
1978.
He's still big bro. Y'all,
You still big bro.
I'll be 46 next month.
Okay.
but you know what I'm saying? Like, but y'all are walking in a space with that, and like, you know, as the saying says, I heard a preacher say this. I can't remember where I heard it, but he said, "Birds of a feather, not only do they flock together, but they fly to the same destination."
Yeah. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? And so it matters who you connect with. It matters who you marry because those are the people that are gonna either rock with you where you are now or are gonna be at that same destination when you get there. You know, and so I love those things, man.
Man, this fed me today, brother.
Me too.
Likewise.
You fed me really good today, bro.
Likewise,
You
man.
don't even know. I'll text you later.
Kenny was cooking.
Yes.
He was cooking.
Yep.
He was cooking, man. Well, we appreciate you, gentlemen. Now, Kenny, look, now you've been on the pod, you've been on the couch. You've been on the pod.
You can't say he ain't now.
You can't say you ain't never been in here.
I know, man. I
You know
feel.
what I'm saying?
Hey, I want to say this too, man. Thank you for creating this space and opportunity for people who may not have access to other people or certain conversations to be able to do. It's this. You've been doing this for a long time, man. But the gospel community specifically appreciates you, man,
100%.
and I would even venture to say musicians and everybody else in this space appreciates you, man. There's so many leaps of faith that you've taken that have been examples to us, and this space of opportunity is a great way to, you know, cancel out some of the other noise that people get. So thank you, man.
Make me cry, bro.
Like you matter, bro. Like,
trying to bring
like
tears
I don't know
out,
what
bro.
it costs to make all this happen. I don't mean financially. I don't know what it costs. I don't know what the sacrifice is, but thank you, man. Like,
that's good.
thank you.
Just try to be to people what I wish people would have been to me, man. Because we know manhood is hard, musicianship is hard, production is hard, mixing is hard, and it's like you gotta find those examples, you gotta find those spaces. And when as I'm still building with everything, like I don't find many examples, and so I'm like, okay, if I can't find examples, then I know the regular, smuggler, other people they can't find examples.
And that's
Let's
what
build the
I
examples.
love about you, man. Like, you know, I've been into Miles Monroe lately, and he said, you know, we were born finished. You know, we were born finished. And my wife took it a step further and said, you know, let me tell you how right he is. Because when a woman is born, they were born with all the eggs that they'll ever have.
You know, I just learned that like in the last
I
few
really
years.
did too as an adult.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But they were born, they can't create any more eggs. They got
Wow,
what they
but we
got.
create sperm every day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
But we were born finished. So what I love about you is, and another thing that he said too, he's like, find problems and be the solution to those. And so you're the solution to problems, bro. That's why you're so successful in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're problems that you felt that were yours.
Yeah.
No, there are so many other people dealing with the same ones.
Yeah.
But you are a resource to the answer.
Wow.
So you get people like Kenny here. You get people like me. You're solving problems, bro. That's why you're blessed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to end on that note. Because if they keep talking, I'm going to
start crying.
It's just real. We got real relationship.
Yeah, man,
I almost hate to see you call because I know we're going to be on the phone by the hour.
That's right.
I don't got an hour right now, but I'm going to answer because it's you. I know when I see him call, I already know. That's before we get to what you actually called about.
Right. Same here.
I get it, honest. I got it from my dad. My dad, Mike Williams. I'm telling you, if you don't call dad, you don't pick up the phone unless you got an hour free.
You gotta
have at least an hour free because that's just to say hello. That's just to get the pleasantries out of the way. Talk about current events, what's going on. That's before we even get to the subject matter. I talk to my dad for a whole hour, and then it'll be like, so
what I was calling for?
After can you
mix this song?
Right after all of that. You know what I'm saying? So we appreciate you guys checking in with us here at the Hangout. As you can see, this is what we do. It is the Hangout. We are literally hanging out. I ain't got no cue cards. I ain't on my Shannon Sharp. This ain't Club Shay Shay. I ain't on that. I ain't got nothing prepared. I literally just have I love having organic conversations like this, getting into the mind of people. And I hope it's been a blessing to you. And if it has, go down there and bless that like button, bless that share button, bless that subscribe button, all of those things that you can do. Drop a comment down below. Add y'all's feedback to the conversation so that we can keep this conversation moving. Iron sharpens iron. And 100%. I appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to you guys on the next one. We out. Holla.
Later.
Peace.